What's good, guys? Dansking1711, your digital Saiyan, coming at you guys with a brand new deck profile today. But before I get into it, I just want to clear up a few things as to why it takes so long between videos for me to post for you guys, as well as what's going to happen going forward. Because this will most likely be the last BT3 deck list I post for you guys. But the reason why the gap in content every few weeks is because I want to make sure that the content I'm bringing you guys is good quality content. Meaning that I want to make sure the decks actually work at least at a local setting. So that means I need to theory craft the list. I need to test it out. I need to actually take it to a locals and make sure it works there. So yeah, that's why there's always been some gaps in how often I post. That being said, like I said, this will probably be the last BT3 deck list. Starting Monday, probably about 3 times a week, or 3 days a week. So probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I will be doing just very basic, single color BT4 lists. Starting with probably with red. Just like simple stuff that you can do with stuff that's coming in BT4. Not necessarily the most high-end, top tier decks, top meta decks, nothing like that. But just to give you a taste, idea of some of the stuff you can do with BT4. That being said, I got a question for you guys relating to this deck profile, and that is this: what happens when the strongest sword and shield in the Digimon world meet up with a gunslinging and seven deadly demon lord by the name of Beelzemon? This is purple based Ragna Zoo. Let's get into it. Yes, that's alright, guys, here we are at the desktop setting to go over this list real quick. As always, we'll start with the Digitomas. We are running 5 of them this time. We're running 4 copies of Demi-Meramon. This is the main egg you want to be running in pretty much any purple base deck right now. At least leading up till BT4, I gotta check some things on that. But this card is really good for pretty much any purple deck right now. Just on deletion, draw 1, trash 1, so it just helps cycle your hand. And yeah, it's just such a good card. It pairs really well with Tapemon right now. It pairs decently with Gabumon, the purple Gabumon. Really good card, and definitely should be your main egg in purple for the time being. I am also running 1 copy of Yaman at the moment. This could technically also be a Pagumon. I just wanted the extra egg, and the buff it gives is never a bad thing. It doesn't really benefit this deck that much, but yeah. So 5 eggs, all purple. Then moving on to the rookies, we are running 4 copies of Tapemon. Again, really good combo with the Demi-Mera. Digivolve or Demi-Mera, swing with this, draw 2, trash 1. Pretty much if any time it swings and actually does survive, you have some combos with it later that still allow you to get the draw and just helps you dig through your deck even faster and get more draws, and just one of the best rookies in purple in my book. The only other rookies we are running right now is 4 copies of Impmon. There's a major reason for that coming up later, but it also helps us cycle through our deck even more, find the purple pieces we need that we can back with our mats. And it's another purple rookie that we can digivolve off of either Yaman or Demi-Mera, just to get some more draws, to get more cycling. Yeah. Moving on, we have our Ragna package, being 4 copies of Bryludramon. 4 copies of Durandamon, and of course 4 copies of Ragna Lordmon. This is our main win con in the deck. This is what you're aiming to get out pretty much every game. This is the aggro deck of the deck. Durandamon will give it piercing. This gives it blocker. He's naturally a security attack +1 and has reboot. And you can do that. And if you have one of these 2 cards in hand, when you digivolve anything into this, you can do it. You can literally do it for free. So, and who doesn't like a free 14k body that is going to pressure your opponent? Now we do have some other level 6s in the deck. Well, first off, let's cover some level 5s. First off, we have 2 copies of Infirmon. I really enjoy this card a lot. Just the fact that you can on play de-digivolve 1, and then you can use this to digivolve into a Durandamon or a Ludamon, or even some of the stuff we have coming up later in the deck. I really enjoy this card. Normally I would be running probably a third one of this, but I just didn't have the room at the time, just for some of the stuff I had to tech in. But I'm also running 3 copies of Chimeramon. This is another one of our little combos that go with the Itmons and the Tapemons. Also allows us to go into our purple megas. And it also helps us board clear a little bit. In fact, I was at a locals last night, where the only reason that I lost that round was because I misplayed and went into a BLs instead of going to this. So, still a little irked by that, but other than that, yeah. Really good card, helps clear the boards, helps you survive. Speaking of purple megas, we are running 2 copies of Metal Garurumon. This allows us to cycle back our Impmons and our Tapemons, as well as so that we can swing with them again the following turn, or use them with Chimeramon, just to get another body out on board that's decently big. I mean, 11k at the moment is not too bad. The other purple mega we run is 2 copies of Beelzemon, just because we are running the Impmons, and it is another level 6 that we can use to go into one of the level 7s that we have, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Love this card. I will pretty much use it in almost every purple deck I ever run, just because, as long as I'm running Impmon, just because the on Digivolution, just pop a level 4 or lower, and the fact that if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you can literally warp Digivolve into this just straight from Impmon. So good. Moving on to other level 6s we have. We're running 3 copies of Volcanictormon. Really good against the Rookie Rush matchup. Really good against the McDonald's matchup. Pretty much anything that spams the board with a bunch of 4K bodies, this is your answer. It also allows us it's another thing we can use to go into Ragna. And just having that +1 security attack, really beneficial, really pressures your opponent. So really good card in general. The main way we have of staying alive right now is 3 copies of Magnadramon. Again, really good card that you can just hardcast for 11, and if you have 3 or less security, you recover 2. This deck in particular does not really use the when attacking skill, but if you had another build that did have a lot of yellow level 3s, really good card for that. But this is mainly our main way of surviving into the late game. One of my personal favorite cards of all time right now, 2 copies of Black War Greymon. A lot of people sleep on this card, as I've said in the past. You can use it to nuke your opponent's board. You can even digivolve up into it off of a Infirmon, and then just swing at it out immediately. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there for a second. But yeah, really slept on card. Really enjoy it. 12k body, nothing to sneeze at. And it is a level 6 black, which is important for both ragna and another card that we have coming up. In fact, right here is one of the cards that is important for it. And the rest of our level 7s, we're running 2 copies of Millenniumon. Going forward, I might take this card out just because it doesn't do as much now as it did in 1.5 and 1.0 format. It's still a really good card, don't get me wrong, but it's not as important nowadays. But on Digivolution, just bottom deck of a threat is really good. And it also pairs, again, really well with Chimeramon. In the fact that you can Digivolve into this, swing, play a Chimeramon, get this back in active mode, so that they can't respond to it. The only other level 7 we do run right now is 2 copies of Alter S. If I was to take Millenniumons out, I would probably throw another one of these in and something else. Not sure what at the moment. But this card has saved me a bunch of times. It's just such a good card. And if you don't know what it does, is that on Digivolution, you de-Digivolve their entire board by 1, and then if anything has 5k or less power, it gets destroyed. Really good card, really good board wipe. Moving on to Tamers, we actually do run 5 Tamers right now. We are running 3 copies of Matt Ashita, mainly to get our purple pieces back. It's not so much so that we don't get choked out, because Zoo in general does not care if you choke them out. It's literally just to get our pieces back and that we need later on in the game. And then we also running 2 copies of Tai Kamita from the starter deck. This is mainly to keep some of our options online, but the extra 1k power per copy does come in handy every once in a while. And then the last 4 cards we have are 4 copies of Gaia Force. Really good option, one of the best options in the game right now. This is why we actually run the ties, so that this is always live. And just having an end-all be-all threat removal, always a good thing to have. Now, I did mention that the space is a little tight, but there are a few other options you can run for this deck. Depending on what your local meta is. One of the things that I have tried running in here is Skull Greymon. A couple copies of that. If your meta has a lot of blockers, you can run this. Just on play, destroy any blocker. You could also run a couple copies of Trump Sword as a secondary means to Gaia Force. You could run Machine Dramon. Another card that's really good to go into Millennium or Alter S or Ragna, and the fact that it de-digivolves 2 on 2 of your opponent's things and is a blocker. Really good card that you can throw in here if you wanted as well. One of my personal favorite techs you could do is the Secret Rare Metal Greymon, just for that power boost again as well. And being able to check 3 things at a swing is never bad. You could also run a couple copies of War Greymon if you wanted, depending on what. If your meta is a lot of McDonald's plays, you can run this. Really good for the options. And then the last option you could do is Omnimon, the 1.0 Omni. I didn't have room for it in this personal build, but if I did, I'd probably take out the Millenniumons for it, if I was to take anything out. As we all know, nukes everything with the same name, and then can restand itself by bouncing a level 6 under it to your hand. So a really good card in general, as another secondary option. But that's the deck. I'll head back over to the webcam view, and we'll do a few closing statements about the deck, and then yeah, we'll go from there. And that's the deck, guys. If you want to see anything else going forward, specifically in the BT4 meta, let me know. If you want to see something in BT3 before BT4 comes out, let me know on that as well. I can try and whip something up fast and get it out to you guys. But for now, till BT4 comes out, I'm going to be mostly working on the list for you guys, for the basic list for that. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It actually helps out a lot more than people think. And yeah, until next time, guys, this has been Danskin1711, signing off. Stop.